I started reading properly when I was probably 18. I'm 23 right now. Probably started properly getting into reading at 18 years old. At 18, I also sold my console, my PS4 at the time. I sold my console because I wanted to give up gaming and everything. I started diving into reading, and the way that I got into reading was that I tried to choose a easy-ish book that I was kind of still interested in, but it had more pictures than words and everything. And that was a Kobe Bryant book about his life, about how he was and stuff. And it was a big book. It was a big, oh, not that big, what the fuck? It was a big book. And I started at level 1 with that book. I looked at it as levels and I was like, okay, I'll start at the easier book, go up to a harder book, and progress up to a book that is just all words, you know, self-help book, self-improvement book, all that sort of stuff. So progressed in reading and dived into that. How I got introduced to reading was watching a self-improvement YouTuber, probably the #1 self-improvement YouTuber in the world, Hamza Ahmed. He talked about how when you improve yourself and develop yourself, reading is one of the most beneficial things that you can do as a young man. One, it improves the way you speak, how you structure your sentences. You're reading things and learning and progressing in your knowledge and your wisdom based on authors that have studied certain subjects for majority of their life and put all these hours. It's compacted into a book that you can then absorb from their brain. It's like picking at another human's brain that have done all the studying that you won't need to do. And I mean, you could look at it as you're studying too, but it just kind of, it's digested for you. It's teaching you the concepts and the tactics and the lessons that they've learned, and then you're incorporating it into your brain. So I started reading at 18, started progressing, and I can remember throughout the times that I dived into books, I learned certain books that people, influencers or YouTubers that I look up to, I've seen what they read. I'm like, oh shit, they read this book, I'll read that book. They read this book about this, I'll read that book too. And it was such a fun thing to learn that there are books out there for everything. There's books out there for sleep. There's books out there for improving your social skills. There's books out there for improving your mental health and self-reflection. There's books out there to improve your gym progress and everything, and the knowledge about your body and how to build muscle and everything like that. There's books about everything. You just have to look for it. Look at the people that you look up to and see what books they've read. Find out throughout Google, ChatGPT, everything like that, and find out what books they read. Go dive into that, you know? So I had this fascination with finding out, you know, what books can I read to learn more from, to be better than I was before. And I was like, damn. So like, I did boxing when I was younger and everything, developing that, being in uncomfortable situations all the time. And I was like, shit, I can add reading and stuff. I started going to the gym after I stopped boxing and doing weights more, trying to improve my physique a little bit more, get a little bit bigger than it was. You know, I used to be very, very skinny. My last job that I had, not the job that I have right now, but I'll tell you the different kind of routines I had to incorporate reading more in my life. And what I used to do is, I used to be a part of a floor laying company. So I used to be a laborer for a flooring company, and they used to install carpet and vinyl, and I used to uplift the old vinyl and the old carpet and then get it ready and clean and everything for them to do, and sometimes prep the underlay and everything for them to come and put the carpet or whatever and down. So I used to do all the dirty work for them. And what I would do is I would start work on average probably around 6 a.m. probably at 6 a.m. And so I would get myself up at 4:30. I would go have a shower, get ready, leave, get my coffee, and I would be at my job at like 5:15 a.m. And I would sit there, sometimes even before. I would get my coffee, I'll get my book. My car was full of books. I had 2 books here on that side little console thing, 2 books here on this side. I had books at the back here, all different books. Some books about money, some books about social skills, some books about that I've already read, but I like to go over them and be in the habit of just digesting the information again and again and again. I had books all around me in the car. That was like my reading place. And so the habit was I'd get to work about 45 minutes to an hour earlier than I was meant to start, and I would sit there with my coffee and reading out loud for that amount of time before I even got into work. It's early in the morning, it's still dark. It was still dark outside. Like there wasn't I wasn't even meant to be there that early, and I know, you know. So I'm sitting there in the car park. I'm I'm sitting there reading. I've got my light on, the light on in the car. Sometimes I leave my car on too and just let the aircon play out because it might be cold or something, whatever. And I'm sitting there with my coffee and I'm reading for 45 minutes to an hour every morning, 5 days a week. And you add that up, that's close to 6 hours. The math, what the fuck? About 5 hours of reading a week. And now imagine how much I would have gained from that time, which I gained a lot. It was a habit that I loved doing. It was something that gave me a good advantage, a good mental edge throughout my days, through my weeks. I'd already done the habit of reading before I even started the day. I did 45 minutes to an hour of reading as well. I would sit there day in, day out reading with my coffee. And because some people, like, they get a little bit sleepy when they're reading, so that's why I like to combine, even no matter what time of the day it is. Sometimes if you read in the morning, in the afternoon, at nighttime, you're gonna get a little bit sleepy no matter what the time is. Some people are like that. So that's why I combine my coffee and my reading habit together. I get my coffee, have my reading, and that helps me progress and focus on the words, digest the information, and do all that. I used to read out loud as well in my car, just read out loud. Saying whatever it was saying out loud, pausing at the breaks, saying it the right way, whatever, and practicing that. I was practicing my speaking day in, day out. I was reading and building my knowledge day in, day out. So that habit back then. Now the job that I have now, I am now a train manager and I work on the trains. I'm on the public trains and in the job that I work shift work. So every week we have different shifts. Sometimes we have early morning shifts one week, and the next week we might have afternoon shifts, and the next week we might have night shifts, whatever, and it changes around. Every day you start at a similar time, but a little bit different. It could be by a difference between half an hour, it could be whatever. So we're changing times every day. And now depending on my routine and schedule, what I've learned to do with my job now, because you can find a way, if you want to do it, you will do it, is in my breaks at work, I read in my breaks. And now I've bought a new Kindle, and now I read with the Kindle, and the progression of being a reader for about 8, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, about 5 years of progressing in my journey of my reading habits, I have now gotten to a point now where I'm reading off a Kindle and off, a little tablet thingy-mabobby. And that's been a little bit of a adjustment in itself, and I was used to hardcover books all the time, and it was 100% worth the investment when I did buy the books physically and just buy them. Some of them get ruined in my car, and it's not very good to do that, but yeah, I've now progressed to the Kindle, and every time I'm just like, I get off the train, it's my break now, get it out of my work bag, boom, read, just like that, just reading. If I'm alone in a room, or if I'm alone in a train cab or whatever, then I'll sit there and I'll read out loud. And reading out loud is 100%, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, I 100% recommending reading out loud, because it improves your speaking, your articulation, your structure of sentences, you're confident with doing stuff. The best thing that you can do is find the gaps in your day where you can fit that reading habit in, whether it's breaks at your work, boom, 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 whether it is an hour before work, it's a habit that I will never let go, and I'll always be reading. There's so many books out there that I still need to dive into and still need to learn about, still need to progress in that habit. And yeah, 100%, if you don't read already, pick up an easy book, pick up something that is a bit easier. I never read in high school because obviously you're forced to read certain books, and it's like nothing I'm interested in, but as soon as I left high school and understood I can choose the books I read, I can learn the things I want to learn, and that was 100% way more fun to have that approach. There's a tactic that I learned from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's one of the first self-improvement books when you start getting into like a little bit harder books, not harder, but a little bit more just word books. Read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. That will help you understand the psychology of why you do bad habits in the first place, how to implement good habits, the concept of habits in itself, what are habits, whatever. All of that in that book. It's very, very good. He explains it very, very well. Basically, one of the things he talks about is making the habit easy to do. And then on the opposite, if you want to break a bad habit, make the habit hard to do. Make it difficult to do. If you want to stop watching TV, you want to stop watching TV all the time, you grab the TV, you unplug it. This is an explanation that he has himself said in the book. This is a situation where he would grab the TV, unplug it, put it into his closet, close the closet, and leave it. And the only way he could watch TV is if he took the TV out of the closet, put it back onto the stand, plugged it in, turned it on, whatever. It's a little bit of a hassle. If you create friction to your bad habit and make it easier to do your good habit, example, if you wanted to do more good habits, If you have books right here in your car, you get to work, you're in the car park, whatever, and your book is right here, the books that you want to read right here, boom, grab it, accessible, make it easy. All right, you fall asleep while reading the book, coffee. Don't have too much coffee, but your morning coffee. Have your morning coffee, show up 45 minutes to an hour early. I know you're like, I want to do that. If you have that good start to your morning, some people like to go to the gym before work, and they like to get that out of the way before they start their day, and that's a momentum booster. The same thing is for reading. If you read the book before you start your work day, it's a momentum shift for your day. You'll still have the caffeine boost to start your day, and now you would have read 45 minutes to an hour before you start work. It could even be half an hour, I don't even mind. It could be 20 minutes before you start work. Let's just say 20 minutes. You show up to work, 25 minutes, you get into the car park, right? You get your coffee, turn your light on, you have the books right here, boom, your books right here, books on this side, whatever. Invest in books too. People, too expensive, stop being stingy, go grab a book. Go buy a book from your bookstore, go buy it, you own it, be the owner of the book. And make it really, really easy for you to do.